Okay, so after it's rendered, we now have this. We now have it rendered, and it's now rendered into our desired spot. So I've just stuck it in here with my previous rendering. So it's this one here, and we're simply going to be opening up this in Photoshop. If you have Photoshop previously already installed, it will probably already automatically open up. Otherwise, we can right-click and open with Photoshop CS5. So while that loads, we'll open it here. Okay, so we have our document as per usual, and we want to create it into this kind of reddy bluey kind of. Also add a focus effect where it kind of uses the focal length and what have you. So this is done pretty easily. First off, we want to duplicate the background layer twice. Yep. And on the middle one, we can turn off the top one for now. The middle one, we want to simply create an outer blur. We want to play a Gaussian blur, but what I'm actually going to be doing in favor of deconstructive editing is showing you how we can actually go about this using deconstructive editing. So going to filter, convert to smart filters, this will now allow us to create a smart blur for this. Now what this blur does, I've done for 3 pixels. What we can do onto this, we actually can edit the blur afterwards. Set 22, and it's real time as well, so it's really good if you want to go back, you want to add less or more blur for the actual document. And it's really handy as an editor, as you sending files off to different people. People can say, no, I want less or more blur, and they simply can do it themselves without having to redo it all over again. Okay, so we've got that layer done. We need to create an actual mask. The smart filters already has a mask for us, which is fantastic. Otherwise, we can create one on the actual copy itself. So on the smart filter, or wherever you've done it, having a mask already done, we don't need to do this, but having a mask, we want to mask out the inside areas, so the blur is only affecting the outside, kind of where the actual depth of field would be, so the camera's focusing on this middle part here from an angle, so we're going to get some blurring here and a fair bit over here, so we're going to reflect that in the actual masking. So clicking on the mask itself, and masks use black and white to mask in or mask out. Using a fairly large brush, I'm using a 715 pixel brush, hardness down to 0, so it's a very soft brush, and we literally just want to paint in black, making sure it's black, the center. As you can see, it's already made the actual middle focused. We just want to kind of start painting in the areas that we should expect it to be in focus, and kind of leaving the outside edges of the each end not in focus, and that looks pretty good to me actually. So on our third layer, we're going to just activate that, and we're going to set it to a hard light. That's right, yeah, hard light. And so just so we can get some depth of shadows kind of coming through on the actual thing. It still kind of shows some blur coming through, but not very much, so we're going to drop the opacity down to 60%, and that allows for some of the blur to come through on the actual edges themselves. So we've got that done, and that looks pretty good actually there, but we're going to quickly add a gradient overlay, which is pretty simple. Creating a new layer, just dropping in whatever color you want. I'm just going to put white for now, and simply add an effect of gradient overlay, clicking that. I just want to paste one because I've already had it pre-selected. So this gradient overlay is screen 42% or 40%, wouldn't really matter too much. But it really needs to be screen. If you put it on normal, you're not going to see the design as much, so make sure it's screen, roughly 42%. And the colors at 0, at 0, so position 0, we want the color, and hash on the hex, it's 066CAA, and I'll put this in description as well. And then at 100%, we want 840000, that's a red, so it's kind of going from red to blue, and it's reflected in the actual design. Simple as that. Okay, and that's the design right there, wrapped up, done already. So you can muck around with different gradients. Like I've mucked around in previous demonstrations where you can create. I'll just move this window out of the way for you so you can see easier. You can create different effects, have it purely red, and I quite like the changing of different colors. So if you have, say, more than one color, which is, I don't really have, it works quite well. So we'll just quickly muck around. Quite like that, and you can change the angle as well, so it's kind of moved. So whatever you want, mucking around. I'm just going to leave it on this. It looks pretty good. And I've actually, from memory, yes, as well, I moved the gradient. So by using the selection tool, you actually can move where the gradient is by just clicking and dragging. I actually moved it red far over to the left, so you can get minimal red, more blue, and that kind of creates depth and the fact that you've got red light over here, and that's simple as that. So there you go, guys. Like I said, I'll link most of the stuff in the description for you. It's simple as that. Using the what is it? The Gorilla package. I'm sorry, I've forgotten the name, but I'll link it in the description. And it's simple as that. Done. Exporting it out of Cinema 14 to Photoshop and applying some simple filters to it. So there you go, guys. It's pretty simple. If you like this, comment, rate, and subscribe, and I will have some more tutorials soon. I'm working on some pretty nice ones, and yeah, I hope to see you guys watching me soon later on. See you guys.